Today I'm going to discuss a topic that I hold a very strong opinion on and one that I have plenty of experience in. If you're a sports person of any kind, then you can relate to this topic. Good or bad, everyone has an input. As a sportsman in many facets, I find the number one thing that caused me and many others to include today's youth to stay indoors is the lack of access to and opportunity to quality land. This includes public, private, and leased lands. As a young child, I was very fortunate to grow up in an area where outdoor activities were endless and within a very close proximity. I never had to worry about a place to hunt, fish, camp, or any other activity due to the mass amount of private land that was available and free. This didn't just include myself, this included anyone who wanted to go out and do any of those activities. Access to the single is the single most important factor in my childhood that kept me going. Every farmer and rancher wanted people to come out and enjoy recreational activities free, again free of charge. That is until the marketing and commercial wave of the hunting and fishing industry took over. It didn't just take over the Sportsman Channel on TV. It took over a vast majority of private lands that I myself used to hunt and fish in my home state of Kansas. And they did this via leasing all the private ground. They leased every acre they possibly could to get their hands on in order to further their marketing and profit. According to the Natural Resource Council of Maine, the state of Kansas is made up nearly of 92%. You take away a massive chunk like that and leases that leaves a very small portion of public ground left for the majority of families to hunt and fish or otherwise enjoy. Now, do I believe giving the opportunity to out-of-state sportsmen to experience what I had growing up in Kansas? Absolutely. But I do not agree with it to the point where the lack of access is beginning to become detrimental to the interest of our youth. And that is again access, the lack of access thereof. Currently, the state of Kansas has no regulations on the amount of land that can be leased commercially. And I say again, commercially is the single biggest point of, or the lack of access. And let's face it, the kids do not want to go out and sit on a blind or a tree stand for hours on end and see nothing. Kids want to get out and see things. They want to see game. They want to see things they wouldn't see indoors. If we are all forced to compete to hunt a small portion of public ground because of all the private ground being leased, and the vast majority of private land being non-accessible, then we're not going to see anything but other people. And why would a youth want to travel out to see other people when they could do that at home? The general public, to include myself, cannot compete with the outfitters, guides, or out-of-state hunters that lease commercially. And they're doing this by the thousands of acres, and they're doing this by the thousands of dollars. And let's just assume that every 1 out of 7 of the people in Kansas hunt or fish. With there being 2.9 million people in the state of Kansas, according to Census.gov, and if all 92% of the private lands in Kansas ends up being leased, that leaves approximately, well, I guess there's approximately 300,000 acres of public ground, according to travelkansas.org. Then with a 2.9 million population and 1 out of 7, that leaves around 2 people per acre to do whatever activity they want. And that's not very much. And that's crazy. Imagine a hunter with a high-powered rifle sitting next to a bow hunter on the same acre of land. And they have to do this because there's just lack of access. I can tell you, as an avid hunter myself, I would just give it up rather than take my kids to a place and with that kind of competition. In conclusion, I'd like to stress the importance of getting the word out there to stop the leasing in a marketable fashion. These companies need to be checked and regulated on the amount they can lease. And what we need to do as adults is start giving back the access that we had as children. With today's lack of access, the tradition of hunting and fishing will continue to shrink along with the access of private land to enjoy.